Lincoln Riley was on Dan Patrick's show today and had this to say about Charley Casserly's report on NFL Network yesterday that he's heard from those in the know from the interview rooms at the Combine that Kyler Murray had a dreadful time of it in the interview room. This was his head coach, Lincoln Riley, on DP's show earlier on Wednesday.
It's that time of year, and people are going to say different things. I just hate that people go out, make these comments, and, you've never even talked to two people that have actually coached this kid. Probably a smokescreen, knowing how this draft deal works and all the different back and forth. But Kyler was a tremendous leader for us, a tremendous leader. All he cares about is winning. I think our team took on that personality without a doubt. And then as far as process and offense, they just had, greatest single season in the history of college football. So I think he can process just fine.
All right, longtime general manager from the Washington Redskins, Super Bowl winning general manager, and the man who helped get the Texans off the ground, and also a compadre of mine at the NFL Network, Charley Casserly, here on the show. How are you, Charlie?
Hey, great to be with you, Rich.
Yeah, good to be with you. What'd you think of Lincoln Riley's comments, Charlie?
Well, what else are you going to say? Let's start there, okay? So, hey, I'm telling my report is from 3 teams, okay, or more. It's more than 2, of what their impression was in a 15-minute interview, okay? That's what I repeated, okay? And I obviously, I'm not going to reveal the teams, nor am I going to reveal some specific things that were said, but I'm giving you the summary of the overview of it. Now, there's been guys who failed the interview room and gone on and had successful careers. Just telling you that's what he did in that situation. On Friday, I'm going to plug my segment on Friday, up to the minute, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock Eastern. This was pre-planned because the work was already done before I went on television yesterday. Everybody says, well, this guy's got to be in a certain offense. Well, what's that? I'm going to show you the certain offense that he can be in to be successful. On tape, this guy was a phenomenal player. There's no question about that. No one denies that. The interview didn't go well. We'll find out, At the end of the day, Rich, it's going to be system has to match what he can do, and I can show that can be done and is done in the NFL. This guy's work ethic, intelligence, I shouldn't say intelligence, study habits, that's what's going to be a question. What wasn't asked, Riley, was compare him to Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield way ahead of this guy. Whether he would have said that on the air, I doubt it.
Well, what do you mean by that, Baker Mayfield way ahead of this guy, Charlie?
Well, just in the area of the leadership and the study habits and the work habits, and let's just say grasping concepts put into a test situation. Mayfield, Russell Wilson, and Mahomes way ahead of this guy. And those guys have all proven in the NFL that they can adapt their game to the NFL structure as far as work habits, studying, and everything. In college, it's more of a reactive type thing. It doesn't even scratch the surface many times with the spread offense and what they're going to have to do in the NFL. But there is a way to adapt his skill set to be successful.
Well, Charlie, not to have you reveal your sources, as you've already said you won't, and I don't blame you. What about the idea that these teams are smoke screening in a way to try and
let me say
cut him?
Let me say, sorry to cut you off.
No,
Rich.
go ahead.
These three people were not smoke screening me. That's all I can tell you.
So there's
that doesn't mean. Go ahead.
But you know that there are people who have agendas to try and maybe make sure that he doesn't show up in their division, or maybe make sure he doesn't show up in their conference, or try and knock him down because they don't like the agent, or try and knock him down for various reasons. I mean, I don't think I'm telling any tales out of school or accusing your colleagues or sources for doing that. But you're saying this is an unvarnished, non-agenda opinion from people who told you about Kyler Murray.
Absolutely. No question in my mind. Zero question. So
how is that possible, though, that he doesn't have the leadership skills or didn't portray them?
Well, you're talking about a guy who had a bad interview, okay? Clearly, Rich, this guy was not trained for an interview. It's obvious based on the comments made to me. I've trained players for Combine. I train over 100 players a year for interviews for the Combine. Just no way this guy was trained, okay? So now you're talking about a guy who's not trained in the interview and says some things that are absolutely off the wall. Okay, you'd never say them if you were trained. Now, that all comes out when you go visit and you spend a day with this guy. Okay, what I would do with this guy, I'd say, okay, Kyle, we're going to sit down. Let's go through your 12, 14 games. Let's start and let's go. And then let's go through every play. We're thinking about taking in the top 10 in the first round. Let's go do that. Let's see how it goes. That's going to be more of a test than a 15-minute interview. All I'm saying is this is what I said. This is what they would say. It was in a 15-minute interview.
Charley Casserly of NFL Network here in the Honda Insider Report. You say scheme and player can fit, and regardless of poorly interviewing, this can wind up as a successful marriage in the NFL. Is Arizona one of those teams, Charlie?
Well, Arizona, to me, is the obvious one. And you know, as we reported yesterday, and Steve Weiss backed it up, they have shopped this guy. Now, the way I look at Arizona is, let's start. In the interview process, Rich, I talked to somebody who was interviewed, and they made it clear Rosen was their quarterback. This coach obviously didn't get the job because I didn't talk to Kingsbury, but this coach had a lot of questions and a lot of warts on Rosen, which he had in college. It was all talked about last year. It's nothing new. So he was a little concerned about having him as a quarterback. So now you hire Kingsbury, who's on record as saying he loves Murray. Well, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. He loved him in high school. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that. To me, if you're going to go hire an outlier like Kingsbury, who might be a brilliant coach, all right, give him his quarterback. Give him Murray. I've said that already. Said that on Twitter, just to plug Twitter here. But said that a couple of weeks ago. What I would think about hard is this, Rich. If I'm the general manager and I was sold on Rosen, now that's a big if. I was sold on him, not I just had to take him because Darnold was gone and Mayfield's gone. I didn't want Allen. If I'm sold on that guy, I'll draft Kingsbury, but I'm keeping Rosen. Better have two than one. Now, if I took Rosen on default, okay, then I'd have to go. You know, I'd try to trade him. Now, if you get a third for him, a third is only a 30% success rate. Shoot, I might keep the guy. So
all right, so let me walk through this. Let me walk through this one by one here. So when I mention Arizona and you're like they're shopping the guy, you obviously mean Rosen, and you said Steve Weiss backed that up. I was told that that Rosen was told he's the man, he's the guy. I guess as a general manager in this league, both things can be possible. That you tell the team that hey, we're good, and then still go shop him. That's feasible. That can be done.
Well, I never did that, by the way. Okay, if I told a player he was there, that was it. Okay, all of us had agreed that was it, and that's what we were going to tell him, and we wouldn't go back on it. Sometimes people change their minds. I thought it was interesting that they qualified the statement, he's our quarterback for now.
That's right.
I mean, if he's our quarterback, I'm not going to say he's our quarterback for now. Okay, he's our quarterback.
Right.
What does now mean?
So shopping him now, I mean, doesn't that put you in a box? You got to draft Kyler Murray. You see what I'm saying? Like there's still 50 days to the draft here. I mean, what are the odds that this is actually a decision that Arizona has made, and that one of the interviews that maybe Kyler Murray aced was Arizona's? And go ahead and let's see what Rosen's out there, or the phone's ringing for Rosen because you did put it out there that he was our quarterback right now, that you foreshored it in that respect. Walk me through how Steve Keim might be mapping this 50-day excursion out.
Well, first of all, if you're going to shop a guy, I wouldn't shop a guy unless I had a plan to replace him. Okay, so the plan to replace him would be Kingsbury. So if I made the decision to draft Kingsbury, then you could make the argument: we're not excited about Rosen after 1 year, or two, we don't want the quarterback controversy, and I get that one now. I get that one because that can be disruptive. So Murray's our man. We're going with him. We got to move this guy out of here, and that. From the outside in, it seems like that's what they're doing. Do I know they're doing that? No, I know they've shopped him. And I know the guy is saying he's quarterback for now, which tells me that there's a maybe to trade him.
Wow.
So, I mean, we've both been in a long time. If you get up there and say he's our man, that's one thing. If he's our man for now, that's another thing.
One more on this subject with you, Charlie. Is there any example you can give from your sourcing on how poorly the interview went. Just a little bit more meat on the bones here. Just what does that mean? I mean, give me what you think you can reveal here.
No, to me, I got to stay generic, and that's it. And people will choose to believe what I say or not choose to believe what I say based on, what they think of my credibility. So, which is fine. I don't care about that. I know what these people are. I know they trust them. I trust what they say. I trust their opinion. Time will tell as other interviews come out.
Now,
I was led to believe, and I never said this, by a baseball person that his interview would not go good. So I think he knew something. He knew the kid. I know that.
From a baseball executive.
Baseball person. I'll leave it at that.
Okay, baseball person. All right. And so let me try it this way then. If you don't mind me, Charley Casserly here on the Rich Eisen Show and the Honda Insider Report.
No, I know how to give the same answer.
No, I know that. Let me try that. Listen, I know this is not your first rodeo, Charley Casserly. I understand that. You said it was one of the worst evaluations you've ever heard for a quarterback, correct? That's what you said. Okay.
I said that.
So
yes.
give me a previously worst evaluation on a quarterback that you've heard before.
I won't do that either. I won't put out a name of somebody that I've never used at the time. So
okay, very good. Who's the best player available in the draft then, in your estimation?
Well, I had Bosa, and I don't know that I would change it. There's some of those good defensive linemen up there, pretty good. But I like Bosa better than everybody. I know he didn't run quite as fast as I had hoped personally. His drill work was not at the top of the chart. Rashawn Gary, your fellow from Michigan, had better drill work. But I just thought on the tape he's the best defensive lineman. I thought he was explosive off the edge. I thought he had a great inside move. I thought he played with leverage against the run and played it well, too. So I'm still going to put him there.
Well, as you know, obviously the combine and the drills are just one piece of the puzzle, and that's why, I was kind of taken aback to hear, that Haskins didn't grab the stage like he should have with Murray not working out at all. What is the word on Haskins with the Giants sitting there at 6? And then obviously if Murray did fail the interview to the point that he did, that might affect some way his draft status. What do you have on Haskins, Charlie, and what you're hearing about?
My guess on Murray is this. Let me start. There are certain teams that wouldn't take him because of the size and the system. There are certain teams, if they're on the fence, they're going to spend a lot more time trying to decide this. And there are other teams, it made no difference to them, I'll guarantee you. None whatsoever, okay? On Haskins, good interview on the board, sharp guy, no question about that. I think he's got a big upside. I think that his throwing was and you got to be careful. They're throwing to receivers they never practice. So I really don't spend much time on it. I looked at it a little bit more this year. I watched the games. I thought his deep ball, he was arcing it more. And I said, where the hell did that come from? Because that wasn't, excuse the language, I didn't see that in the tape. That may be somebody trying to teach him something about getting the ball out quick and throwing it up. And that it doesn't look right when you watch him do it at the combine. So I can't see the Giants taking a 5'10" quarterback in the Meadowlands. That's just a gut. Foles, everybody seems to think he'll be in Jacksonville. Makes sense. Steve Filippo was the quarterback coach, and they can get and they're a team that feels that they can win now. So unless Tampa, and I think Tampa, I take this guy over the guy they got in Tampa now. I think he's got a clear shot to the Giants, and I think the Giants take him. That's my gut.
So
I take the guy, big, strong arm guy, and big upside.
So
Smart.
You think Haskins to the Giants is the best guess right here. So let me ask you this finally, Charlie. So rank it for me here. You're a quarterback needy franchise, and I understand that there's realities in the free agent front, but there's also realities on how far you can trade up or whatever. Rank it for me. Haskins, Murray, free agent quarterback. How would you go to try and fill that quarterback need if you have to right here, right now, over the next 50 days?
I would take Haskins over any free agent, meaning Foles or Bridgewater are really the two guys. And I would take him over Murray. I think he fits every system. Murray can win in a certain system. But everybody's got to be on board on that. And I do worry a little about the body type. I mean, he weighed 207, but I don't know that he played at 207. He looks like small. He's going to take some hits now. and you got to survive those hits. So then maybe he can. Maybe he can. And then I would have Jones. I would take of Duke over Foles, and I like Bridgewater. Nobody wants to talk about Bridgewater, but I know there's a little bit of a I would say an uncertainty there with him. But Bridgewater might be the sleeper in this whole thing when it's over, said and done.
Charlie, appreciate the time. Really do. Maybe next week, if you're around in Los Angeles for the free agent, we'll have you here in person to hit it again, chop it up. Thanks for the call.
Yeah, love to do it.
Thanks, Charlie. You got it. And by the way, it's at Charley Casserly on Twitter. What else do I need to promote, Charlie? What else do I got to get out there on the Charley Casserly platform?
Hey, up to the minute, Friday, 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock. We'll show you how Murray can win in the NFL.
Okay. So you're going to be fair and balanced, is what you're saying.
Absolutely. This is going to be me looking at his tape and looking at NFL tape and showing you how this guy can win in the NFL.
Okay.
No question about it. No question in my mind. We got the answer Friday.
Okay, because you're hearing people saying you're throwing this stuff out there that you're hearing from the combine, unsubstantiated, unsourced. You're just trying to kill the kid.
Well, let me say this. Watergate was unsubstantiated, too, now. The source in Watergate never came out, did it?
Who's your deep throat, Charley Casserly? Who's the deep throat?
Hey, I live in Washington. I know about things like this. So, hey, I'm dying with my sources. That's it.
Okay, Charlie. Thanks for the call. We'll chat soon.
All right, see you. Bye.
That's Charley Casserly, the one and only.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.